What's up, Jeff?
How, man? How's it going?
What's going on, buddy?
That does sound a lot like Styx.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So thanks for doing this.
Yep.
Does this feel weird for you to do?
A little bit. Never done anything like this.
I know, usually when we sit across from each other, we don't need microphone and headphones.
We probably need one. We just don't have one.
All the years of playing loud music.
Yeah.
Saying what?
Yeah.
So look, what's up? Welcome to, I don't even know what to call this. This is just a video that I'm throwing up on this channel. This is my good friend, Jeff Ward. Yes, sir. The drummer extraordinaire. We're going to get into that.
The world's okayest drummer.
That's right. We've played a handful of stuff together. And I wanted to invite you in because I wanted you to be the first piece of content recorded at this table.
Well, that is really cool. And the studio is amazing. And really good setup.
Yeah, man. I think it's pretty cool. You know, I spared no expense.
And you're paying me an awful lot of money to come here.
I know. No, you bought me the coffee. That
Yeah.
was your price of admission.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the coffee?
Sure.
Let's just jump right into it. This is going to be nonsensical type of, we're just talking. So.
Right. Yeah. So I called Derek this morning or texted him and said I would stop and get Starbucks if he wanted me to bring here. And he told me what he wanted. And I decided to get the same thing. And I'm not a really big coffee drinker. My coffee has to taste not like coffee. This tastes an awful lot like coffee.
So, I'm sorry, I was looking at the soundboard. Did you say what the order was?
I did not.
So my text to you was, and anyone that goes to Starbucks, you need to know a certain language.
Sure. And I don't know that language.
And I know what to order. And that's what I love though, is they're consistent.
Right.
Go to McDonald's and try to say, I want a coffee with light sugar and extra cream, whatever, and you're going to get the same thing.
Right.
They just put the same amount of cream, same sugar, it don't matter.
Right.
So it was a Grande Pike cream vanilla.
Yep.
I was like, that's all you need to say.
And that's exactly what I said.
Because I know that they put the right amount. Let me see. It even says in the label.
Oh, really? I did not know.
Oh, it said half cream. Did you say light cream?
I did not.
No, they screwed up.
I did not. I just said cream.
So I get
maybe that's I go to the so strong.
So I go to the front door, and you're like, dude, I'm never drinking your coffee again. I was like, yeah, you didn't have any sugar in it. Well, the vanilla, I'm like, yeah, the vanilla doesn't count.
Right.
So tell them what you did.
Oh yeah, I added a package of Swiss Miss cocoa to it, and now it's much easier to drink.
And we don't know who owns that cocoa Swiss Miss.
No,
this office room shares a space with a bunch of other rooms, so we have a kitchen, which is really cool.
Right.
And anyone that works in corporate world and y'all share a kitchen, everyone knows what that's all about.
Right.
You try to label your stuff in the refrigerator and everything, but at the end of the day, if you buy some sugar for coffee, everyone's using it.
Right. So, yeah, I'm getting used to the coffee. I will certainly be awake for this interview, but good stuff.
That was the point.
Yeah.
Lunch on me. All
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, how we met, man? Let's go give some people some context, because I've definitely talked about Derek Joseph, the gentleman that we both play for currently. And your name has come up in past videos and everything, but there's still a lot of people that will be watching this that don't know who you are. So, Jeff Ward, where are you from again?
Well, originally I'm from down in middle Mississippi, a small town called Yazoo City. But I've been up in the Memphis and surrounding areas my whole life.
What's that, 60 years?
52 years. And believe me, I don't need any more added to that. I feel old enough. But yeah, the way we met, honestly, I don't remember how I got the phone call from Derek to play for him, but somehow he got my name, called me because he was in a pinch and needed a drummer on short notice. And I went and played a gig down in Tunica, Samstown? Hollywood.
And go check out Derek at derekjoseph.net, by the way. So you'll know who we're talking about.
I played that gig with these guys down there. And that was our first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been...
Do you know what year that was?
I was going to say it's been more than 10 years ago. Or
no, it wasn't 2012. I'm sure it was 13, probably 13.
Okay, so 9 years ago.
Maybe it could have been 12, but yeah, we're talking a decade ago.
Yeah.
We'll just say,
and had no clue that it would lead to just what it's become. I mean, we've good friends outside of music. Love playing with you, but outside of music, we've just really forged a great friendship, and it's been awesome.
Cool. That's it. That's the end of the episode. That's all I need to hear. Well, I think
he did not pay me to say that.
But you are skipping a point where you hated me at the beginning, right? I mean, you didn't hate me. It's a strong word.
No. We just, it didn't gel the way, you see a lot of things on the internet about musicians and how when they get to that spot where everything is magical and there's, you don't have to have any communication because it's all done through the music. Well, we did not have that from the beginning, but it has gotten to that, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, in defense to you, let's give more context and what you jumped into.
Yeah.
Because in the music world, especially in Nashville, it's more common to get a call and just show up to a gig and go for it.
Right.
And they'll give you a song list. And okay, you do your best, but there's no rehearsal. Right. You're meeting musicians for the first time. Hey, how you doing? I'm Derek. Nice to meet you. 1, 2, 3, 4 into the first song.
Right.
And if you don't know a song that the singer usually calls out, then you got to fake your way through it.
Yeah.
So you were thrown into that situation. But is it fair to say that you just really didn't have that kind of experience?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and it's been a decade, but I think I had maybe 2 days from when Derek called me to that gig. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, 50 songs.
Dude, that's hard for anybody.
And, I did the best I could. And I was a pretty green live player. I've been playing drums since I was 14 years old. Uh-huh. A lot of that time was spent in my living room playing the songs.
Playing on the pillows?
Sure. And it's, it's a lot different when you're out in front of people and you don't know the people you're playing with and you're new to that. So that's, it was a very shaky outing.
Yeah.
That's putting it nicely.
It was interesting. And
I actually made the comment to my wife the next morning. I said, I'll never hear from those guys again. And fortunately, I did. Derek, it was months later. Mm-hmm. I think he was in another tight spot and didn't have a choice.
That was Resorts Casino.
Right.
And all in Tunica, Mississippi, by the way.
And he called me and he said, man, I need a drummer again. And I think the first thing I said was, I can't believe you called me, but okay. And this time I had, I think, 3 weeks.
Yeah, which helps
to get ready.
And did I not address that?
Absolutely.
I was like, man, good job.
Yeah, we played the first set that night, and I was getting up behind the kit to just go relax for a little while. And you approached me and you looked at me and you said, I mean this in a good way. You're not the same drummer that played with us last time. And wow, I got to tell you, that was.
You don't have to look at the camera.
Well, a lot of weight was lifted.
Yeah.
Just calm down.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And the rest of the night was great.
So let's go back to the first show, Hollywood Casino.
Yep.
I can't remember like how the overall, I know the overall show was like us just trying to struggle to like, whether it was the tempo, I'm not trying to dig on you here.
No, I get it.
The point I'm trying to make is there's one specific moment that I remember. I can't remember the song.
I probably can.
It might have been a Collective Soul song.
Yeah.
That had, so the kick pattern was a little busy, meaning that the right foot's hitting the bass drum.
Right.
And it has a certain pattern to it. And you were like, I don't know this song. I don't care. I'm gonna be Ringo Starr through this whole song, and all these pushes and pulls and all these riffs and everything that's supposed to be going on with the song, where it was just straight
through.
I remember looking back, being like, man, that wasn't the only hairy eyeball you got that night. Right. But that's what I remember the most. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. But still to this day, I'm a cranky guy in the band. I hate. Anyways, we won't go into that. So then. I don't know how much longer it was between that and Resorts, but yeah, you showed up, man. You brought it,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, cool, man, let's go.
Right.
And then not only did I see like, oh, okay, yeah, he did his homework. Yeah, once if he knows the songs, awesome, he brings it. But I also knew, as bass players say, he's got a nice foot.
Yeah,
I was like, I can lock in with that.
right.
You know, inside baseball here for my audience. But then I can't remember what happened after that. I don't know if we ever really played again until
it was a while. But yeah, it's just the difference now. And you were the first, what I would call professional bass player that I'd ever played live with.
Mm-hmm.
I played with guys here and there, but I've learned a lot from you, and I'm not just trying to score points or anything, but it's just truth. You're a pro. You've been doing it a long time, and I've learned a ton, and it's been great ever since. And
feel free to order a steak at lunch.
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
So yeah, it's been a long ride playing together. We played in a couple bands simultaneously.
And now we're finally doing what every musician sets out to do, I think.
Yeah. And aren't we so happy about it?
Well, it's been fun. It's been different, but it's fun, 5 guys, sometimes 7, 8 people on a tour bus, driving 16 hours one way, and the air conditioner goes out.
Yep.
You might want to choke somebody before you get back home, but we've all made it work really good. And I think we should mention everybody. Of course, you mentioned Derek Joseph. He's the main guy. We've got Jeff Cobble as a lead and rhythm guitar. We've got Andrew Salamito.
Something like that. I'll let you hang with that name.
Sorry, Andrew. He's our lead and rhythm guitar player as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got you on bass and me on drums. And it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, man. I started working for Derek in 2012,
right?
13, somewhere on there. So not too much before you.
Yeah, it was just before meeting me.
And I had the same situation as you in the Hollywood show.
Right.
I just knew Derek.
Right.
We kind of were in the same circles in Nashville, and then we both ended up moving out to Mississippi or North Mississippi, Memphis area, two totally different reasons and different stories. But the universe kind of lined us back up.
Right.
So he knew me.
Right.
But he was still using all Nashville guys. And that at this time they were playing a lot of the casinos. He was really busy in the casinos.
Right.
In Tunica and Lula, Mississippi, which is where I was hired to go. So he just needed a bass player, and I got the songs and I did the best I could and showed up and got thrown in the fire pit.
Right.
It went well. And I was always his go-to since then when he needed one. And then eventually I became his bass player, and then he stopped playing for a while. So, and I always played in this other band called Mackenzie's Mill, which my audience has heard about too.
Yep.
But yeah, so.
And you and I have done other projects locally in the Memphis area. We've done some cover bands.
Yeah. So we had a band called Radiometer.
Yep.
With previously mentioned Jeff Cobble.
Yep. And his wife and his daughter, which was interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, that was
both could sing and really bring it, and but it was really weird. He's married to a woman who's not much older than his daughter. Good job, Jeff.
Yeah, nicely done. He has 2 families, we'll just say.
Yeah,
he started over, but and then what was really unique is the 3 of us also backed up another guy. His name was Nick Garrison.
Yep,
who was.
It still is.
It still is.
His name's still Nick.
He's still Nick Garrison. But I don't know how busy he is now. And
I've seen him on Facebook. Nick does a lot of acoustic stuff. Yeah. He and Wade
Proctor,
they play together a lot. And Nick is a phenomenal vocalist.
Yeah, he was great.
Amazing.
And we were kind of his first attempt to have a band behind him.
Right.
He was very acoustic driven, amazing voice. So then you are the man that connected him with us, but then now the 3 of us were playing gigs with him, and then Radiometer, which was really neat because the backup band, we were getting a little busier because we had 2 different bands that we were playing in.
Right.
But as it goes, things get a little stressful and and it's too hard to hang sometimes. But did a lot of stuff at TJ Mulligan's, again,
Right.
getting super local here. But
And for everyone, all three of the people that we've mentioned, Derek Joseph, Nick Garrison, and Wade Proctor, all three have amazing original material.
Mhm.
So if you're into modern country music, go look them up, and they're all streaming on all the platforms. It's good music.
yeah, and DerekJoseph.net is
Yeah.
where you're going to get his stuff.
Yep. And I'm not sure about Nick and Wade. I don't know. I know they're on Facebook,
Yeah.
but I don't know about websites.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. You don't know about websites?
I don't know about their website.
Oh, okay. Remember, do you know AOL? Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we've bored everyone to death with our music history. Let's learn a little bit more about Jeff.
Well, what do you want to know?
Who
Is
is your idol drummer?
Man, that's such a tough question. And as a musician, I'm sure you've been asked the same thing about bass players. Living, I would have to say Todd Suckerman from
Yeah.
Styx. Currently touring, I don't think it gets any better.
Check him out. Check out his Facebook page.
Yeah.
He'll throw clips of his performance at
Live
concerts and
performances.
stuff.
Yeah, he's just phenomenal.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And that would be, I guess that would be my across all genres favorite guy. As far as country music, I'd have to say Rich Redmond.
Yep.
For Jason Aldean, just a phenomenal guy.
Another fun watch too. That's the thing with Todd Suckerman as well.
Yep.
They're fun to watch.
Their personality comes out in their playing.
And it makes them so smooth, and their body is totally in tune with the rhythm. It's really remarkable.
They've done it for so long at such a high level that there's no thought. I don't know if that's the right thing to say. It doesn't appear that there's a lot of thought in it.
Mhm.
They're just on autopilot.
Yep.
And they're doing their thing. And even when something goes wrong, they don't miss a beat. They've got a tech there that helps them in a live performance. I can't imagine blowing the snares off my drum or messing up a head, and you've got a guy walking around while you're playing, trying to fix everything while you're still trying to do.
Did you see that video?
Oh, it was
that
amazing.
I tagged you
It was
on?
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as living or dead, probably 9 out of 10 drummers you ask that question are going to say Neil Peart.
Yeah.
And he is just, I don't see how it gets any better than him. He's unfortunately passed away a few years ago or a couple of years ago.
He was
Hugely missed.
he's one of those drummers where he was like a composer.
Well, yeah, he wrote lyrics.
Well, that too, but his drum lines were melodic in a way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were a song on their own.
Right. Absolutely.
You know?
And then I guess if you wanted to talk local level, one of my biggest mentors has been Pete Mendillo. I'm sure you've heard that name in
Yep.
local circles. Pete he's had a heck of a career playing with some really big artists. He was a drummer for Jimmy Jameson for a while, Savoy Brown, among others. And I met Pete on the local scene. I've taken lessons from Pete, and he has just been instrumental in making me a better drummer.
Mhm.
He's just an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's a well-known cat around
Yeah.
town. He's a go-to guy
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
Currently, he plays in what? Area 51?
Area 51, a great band. They do Rush covers.
Yeah.
They do a lot of covers of Styx and the
Mhm.
harder music to cover.
Yeah.
You're not going to go listen to those guys and hear your standards. They play the harder.
They're not going to crush Brown Eyed Girl?
They're not going to. They may now that we mentioned it.
Hopefully Pete's watching this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
My go-to is, believe it or not, Ringo Starr.
Can't argue with that.
I could talk for hours on Ringo and just his natural meter and his character
Sure.
playing. And just it's him. You know it immediately.
Yep. Well, what about bass players? Like, I got to ask you the same question.
Well, it's funny. It's funny I went to drums because that's honestly what I listened to first.
Sure.
When I listened to my taste of music, which is hard rock, heavy metal, Slipknot, Metallica.
Right.
But then I can go a little more, I don't know what to call it, but like Kings of Leon, and then my
Right.
daughters introduced me to all kinds of stuff. Like,
Sure.
I used to make fun of, what's her name? The one that has a really whispery voice. Dang it.
Oh, I don't know. You got me stumped.
Shit. Anyways, so that's why I go to drummers first.
Yeah.
enjoy listening to drums.
Yeah.
Guitar riffs.
Right.
Overall melody of the song. Like, what's the melody?
Right.
And then bass.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, unless it's like a bass, like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, I'm listening to Flea.
Sure.
His stuff sticks out.
Right.
Right. But when I'm listening to a hard rock song, man, it's drums.
Yeah.
But in terms of favorite bass players, you know, Cliff Burton from Metallica. And of course, I'm a Metallica fan, so I might be biased, but anyone should check him out because he was so unique. He was like a soloist on bass,
right,
but not busy. Like he knew how to drive the pocket and drive away, but he was also so creative and wrote songs that were bass driven, instrumental stuff that was insanely good.
Sure.
You know, let's see, Flea. I like Flea.
Sure.
You know, Will Lee. Do you know who Will Lee is?
I do not.
He was the bass player for decades for David Letterman.
Oh, okay.
He was part of the CBS orchestra.
Sure.
And then with Paul Schaefer, and then before Dave Letterman went to CBS, I forget the name of the band when they were in New York,
right,
or on NBC. Steve Gadd, not Steve Gadd. The original drummer is a well-known drummer. And see, this is the problem, man. I can never remember names when I need to.
Okay,
not Steve Gadd, but
you're talking about for Letterman's band.
The first drummer.
Okay, I don't remember. I'm sure someone in the audience will
whatever
text us and tell us.
The reason why I bring up Will Lee is he's a chameleon.
Right.
He can play any style.
Sure.
Anything. And he's really good at it. You know,
right.
And when you listen to the David Letterman show, whether it's the intro theme or when they kick in the commercial and they move, you know, they're playing whatever song going in and out of it, they really put him in the mix. You can hear the bass really well. And he's just phenomenal. And he kind of reminds me of me, Jeff. No. But when I started the casino world in 06, I was forced to have to learn several genres.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wasn't learning reggae and, you know, polka.
Right.
But rock, funk, disco, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of blues.
Yeah, because
country.
What was the name of the band that you played in that did a variety of things?
So at first they were called Buck Wild.
Okay.
And then eventually they changed the name to the singer's name. Her name was Danica. So it was just Danica.
Okay.
And in 2006, I went full time with them. And man, I went from playing a couple shows a month in Maine to touring casinos based, you know, with Nashville musicians and everything. I got my ass thoroughly kicked.
Yeah.
I did. You know, it made me grow quick.
Sure.
Made me better quick.
Right. And like I've told you before now, at the age of 52, what we're doing is perfect for me. I don't want to be on a tour bus 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So we're kind of what I call weekend warriors doing that stuff. Yeah. But you know, if I could have done this when I was younger, I would have loved to have done what you did. It would have certainly given me a lot more experience.
In perspective, because you leapfrogged 15 years of torture and landed in a bus.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of miles in vans and trucks for me, circling the country, you know, eating shit.
Right.
You know, like.
Yeah, so, I'm well aware of how fortunate I have been, except for the AC going out once. But it's been fun being on a bus and not having to be in a van or a truck.
Yeah. So. Bands. So, what's your favorite band?
Well, again,
I know these are awful questions.
They are because you know everybody has multiples.
I have a top 4. I cannot think of the fifth.
Yeah, well, I've got a top 10, but I won't list them all. But you know, and of course, then you have to. Are we talking any genre? Which genre? But I guess overall, my favorite would probably be Rush.
Yeah,
hard to top that one. Mm-hmm. And then there's Styx and Jason Aldean and Van Halen. And
you're a big Nirvana fan, right?
I am not necessarily a big Nirvana fan.
I think they're my fifth.
Yeah.
I've given a lot of thought about my top 5.
Yeah. Well, and what's the difference in our age? I'm 52 and you're
44.
Okay. So we're about 8 years apart.
Right. And we talked about that on the bus once. Right. We're just far enough where your coming of age, you know, the early teens was the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And mine was grunge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it really just separates us that way.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
Because grunge destroyed my love
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they literally, I mean, and you made a great point when I've said that before, and you said, no, it was just that people were ready for a change. And so they came along and they took advantage of that. Because we had over 10 years of Motley Crue and White Line and Great White and you know, all these.
It got watered down. Too.
Yeah, it did.
Let's be real.
It did.
Everyone was just putting some Aquanet in their hair.
And yeah.
They had to get a good ballad.
Yep. You say Aquanet, I got to mention Poison.
Yeah.
So it's, and then overnight, it really seemed like overnight. Here's Nirvana and all the bands that followed them. And there are a lot of bands that follow them that I love. I just, for some reason, Nirvana just never stuck with me.
Yeah.
Now, the spinoff of the Foo Fighters, amazing band, you know.
Love them. Taylor Hawkins.
Oh, yeah. It's such a downer.
Bless that guy.
Yeah,
man.
he's awesome.
What's funny, though, is for me, the Nirvana and the Metallica Black Album, which isn't grunge, same time, though.
But amazing album.
Changed my life musically. Right. And I was just happened to start playing guitar, regular guitar. So Riff City, Metallica is amazing. So, but when I was like starting at like 10 years old, my mom got me my first Walkman, right, a little cassette Walkman, right. And I used to go on camping trips with my grandfather, and it's funny, I still do this to this day. Like when we had to take the van on our last run with Derek, right, I was just up there with my earbuds in, just zoning out, and just destroying my eardrums, with music. I've been doing that all my life. Yeah. So I was doing that, between 10 and 13, but starting at 10, let's say, up to grunge, I was burning out. Yeah. Def Leppard, Hysteria. Great album. Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue, Girls, 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 Poison, Open Up and Say Europe, Final Countdown. Great stuff. God, I could go on and on and on. So, I mean, I came in and really got the feel for that good music. Right. So it wasn't like, I didn't like music until Nirvana. Yeah. But again, it's that coming of age. Right. When I was in high school and grunge hit, now that was my generation. That was my music. Right. We went off on a tangent because you asked my age. What were we talking about? I don't know. Because I remember you saying we weren't going to talk about music anymore. I know. Yet here we are. Well, it's what we are. I think I decided what the name of this series is going to be. Right. But where were we going with that? And we're not cutting this either. We keep this. Okay. We keep this going. Well, then you get to see everything, including the brain farts. And anyone watching this is like, you were talking about this. Yeah. You were talking about this. Yeah. Favorite band. Okay. So my top 5. Okay. I'll give you my top 5. Do it. Metallica. Mm-hmm. Then I know that because we went to a Metallica concert together. And it was amazing. Yeah, it was. Beatles. Great. Number 2. Yeah. And it's almost like 1A, 1B. Yeah. Because they're so different. You can't compare. Right. And they each have their own history. Right. But I read and seen every documentary on these two bands. So that's why they're my top 2. Like I know everything about them. Sure. But then it goes from the Beatles to Slipknot. That's crazy. Yeah. So, heavy metal. Right. Hard rock. Right. Beatles, classic, whatever. Right. And then like Screamo, some parts of Screamo music. But the lead singer, Corey Taylor, actually has a great voice. And a lot of his songs have great singing too. But so then after Slipknot is Kings of Leon. Are you familiar with Kings of Leon? I am. Not super familiar, but I've heard their music and I know who they are. Well, they I can't remember the name of, I don't want to screw the title up, but a few albums ago when they really blew up. Yep. I think I know what song you're talking about. Use Somebody was the first single. Right. That was like my first introduction to them. And what happens, and I'm sure you're the same, when you find a band that you really love and connects with you, you go back, you listen to their albums before. Yeah. And that's usually the test. Right. If you go back and it's just like, oh man, like they weren't really good until now. Right. Or holy shit, where's this band been all my life? Right. That's what Kings of Leon was for me. I got you. And number 5, man, I love Nirvana. Sure. And it has a special place in my world. Sure. Not because of David Grohl, but I still love Foo Fighters. Right. I think David Grohl, I do love it also because of David Grohl, but it's not necessarily the Nirvana connection. I mean,
Right.
David Grohl absolutely proved himself as his own commodity. Like,
sure.
He, early on, people were like, oh, you're just trying to do like Nirvana, but he shut them all up eventually.
They are nothing like Nirvana. So, yeah.
And then just Dave Grohl as a person is just fun to listen to, and I could listen to him talk forever.
You know, you have those people that you look up to musically who have reached that level that you always desired to get to, and sometimes you're scared to meet them because you don't want to ruin that persona, and that's how it is. I look at Dave because Dave seems like such a great guy, such a down to earth, and you see these videos where he brings people up on stage and he just makes them a part of the experience. And I'd be so scared to meet the guy because I don't want him to be a jerk. And I don't think he would be. He seemed like the real deal.
He's big into barbecuing, and he was at one of the Memphis and Mays once, and you started seeing him popping up on social media.
Yeah.
And he was just talking to people, hanging out.
Right.
Mine is James Hetfield, and if I was to meet James Hetfield, I think it would be like staring straight into the burning sun. Like I think I would like explode. You know, not in like a oh my God way, but it'd just be getting too close to the sun.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I get it.
He's not David Grohl.
Right.
He's a cool dude, but he's a little trickier. He's a little more complicated.
if you want to know how varied my musical tastes and love for music are, the guy for me that is what you just described would be Tracy Lawrence. And he's a country singer.
Okay.
I have loved Tracy Lawrence for decades. I have seen him live more than any other artist. I have followed him around the country and gone to shows at casinos all over the place. He's probably seen me at multiple shows in multiple parts of the country and thought, holy crap, where's security? You know, this guy's stalking me.
Why is this guy lifting up his shirt and showing me his boobs?
Wasn't that crazy, but I think Tracy's phenomenal.
That's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, just a big 80s country guy. You know, If the World Had a Front Porch and Sticks and Stones, all, you know, back before country became more rock country. I thought he was more of a purist.
And you've heard me say, like, the 80s, 90s country is fun to play.
Yep.
Like, I'd love to be in a band that plays all that stuff.
Right.
And nothing but.
Right.
Like a genre kind of band.
Right.
Just because that, it had swing and it was dancing. And it was like upbeat rock and roll, too.
Right.
I mean, now it's the rocking country.
Right.
But that was more like that rhythm and blues country.
Right.
Is what I'll call it. Not R&B like hip hop, but R&B old school like Stax Records, rhythm and blues.
Sure.
With a little country twang. And it just makes for great musicianship and the different players that are on that stuff.
And it had steel guitar in it that you could actually hear.
Yeah.
You know, like now, I mean, Jason Aldean has a steel guitar player, but I can't think of a song where I actually can pick out the steel guitar.
Yeah.
Because it kind of blends with the rock guitars as well.
Yeah.
Tracy, there was actually a steel player that was playing lead steel that you could pick out of the song, you know, and that music back then.
The steel guitar can add a lot of emotion.
Sure.
It can make a sad song sadder and make you cry.
Right.
Well, okay. Now let's finally switch up. And you said you wanted to talk about poker.
Yeah.
So, and you have a friend.
I do.
And then you'd like to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, let's just hear about your poker background and what you like doing with that.
Well, I mean, I got into Texas Hold'em many years ago when the craze hit. The World Series of Poker every year is a big deal. I probably really started focusing on it about the time that Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker. And that was it brought so many people into the game because he was an absolute unknown that entered the World Series of Poker and managed to win it. And I had a next door neighbor, or next door neighbors, Jim and Donna Murray. They lived next door to us for many years, and we had home games and we learned to play poker. And Donna actually got pretty serious about it and started entering tournaments and traveling around the country. And she and I have been to Oklahoma to a World Series of Poker event, and she's played in all kinds of, and actually won a big tournament years ago. They now live on the coast, so we're not next door neighbors anymore, but we stay in touch. We visit them all the time. And she and I have talked about possibly putting together a podcast just discussing poker. our favorite players, tactics, tournaments, what's happened in past tournaments. You know what, and we would by far not be the only people to do this. It's become a big thing. It's all over YouTube.
It's hard to be completely original in the podcast world. Don't feel bad about that. Yeah.
But it's something we love and something we talked about. And now that I have a very close friend who has a podcast.
Who's that?
That would be you. So yeah, we're.
I'll buy you a beer with your steak.
Yeah, we've thought about doing it and getting you to produce it for us and get it out there. It would just be two friends BSing about poker, and it's nothing serious. Not looking to make money off of it. Just have fun.
And there's very simple ways to make a podcast, and then there's more complicated ways, like I'm doing with a studio now. Doesn't matter though.
Right.
You know, the content needs to be what you guys want to talk about.
Sure.
There's an audience out there for it. Sure. So try to find it.
Yeah.
But technically, get you guys on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
You know, make a little intro and outro for you. Right. You guys just go on your own schedule.
Yeah.
Zoom, you literally just hit the red button. You click on the red button and it records the call. And that's it.
Right.
And then you send it to me. I send you a bill, $100 an episode.
Sure.
$200 an episode.
Shoot for go crazy.
Now, didn't you like for a minute there? I don't want to say try to earn a living playing poker, but you took it seriously there for a minute, right?
Yeah, I mean, as seriously as you can on the budget that I have. You know, I've never gone to Vegas and tried to play in the World Series or anything like that. But we're only 30 minutes from Tunica. At one time, there were a lot of great poker rooms down there, and there's not that many down there now. There may only be one really good poker room down there now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Tunica, Mississippi, which was at the time, or in its heyday, was, what do they call it? The Vegas in the South or something? Like, it was happening, man. It was a cluster of just big time casinos.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just dying off.
There's just maybe 2 or 3 really good casinos down there now, one poker room.
Yeah.
So I've never tried to make a living at it, but I've taken it seriously. I've read books, and I've talked to Donna a lot because she's had a lot more success than I have. She is a good poker player, and she has shown that in some tournaments that she's entered and won and placed. I think one was a World Series of Poker circuit event that she actually won, and she got a bracelet, pretty big payday. So she's no dummy, and we always talk about it because females at the poker table, they have an advantage because a lot of people instantly discount them.
Really?
Because they're female.
Yeah.
You know, there's just that in a men-dominated sport, if you want to call it a sport, they look at a female and think, well, she can't be as good. Well, she is.
And she sneaks in and whoops some ass.
And a lot of them do. I mean, there are a lot of pro female poker players that are amazing. Liv Bory, I don't think she's playing anymore, but she was phenomenal when she was playing. She's actually a physicist. So
there you go.
Yeah, when you find out someone's a physicist, you might not want to play them at the poker table.
You are not a physicist.
I am not a physicist. But yeah, so that's something in the future that we may work on doing a
man, I think that'd be cool. You know, and then you throw it out on social media and have fun with it.
Yeah. So I'll ask you a question. Give me some family background with you. Like tell people about your family and I know you've got a daughter and do that.
So I grew up in Maine, Sanford, Maine. Single child, single mom. Grew up with my grandparents. Grandfather was a lobsterman, which was really cool. My grandmother just passed. She was 99 years old.
Wow.
She just passed in March.
Almost a century.
We thought she was going to make it too.
Yeah.
One of those things where, you miss her, you miss your family, you don't, but man, after for her, it was probably over 30 years of living with pain in her hips and legs, and just, she always had issues with that stuff. It's like, okay, it never got better.
Right.
Hello, 99 years old, but so it was also a blessing that she, is at peace now.
Right.
Grew up with a group of cousins in Waterboro, Maine.
Okay.
My mom's sister's kids, and they were kind of like my brothers, and the youngest cousin, Ronnie, he and I are just 4 months apart. I owe a lot to him as far as how why I started playing guitar. He got a guitar and I was jealous, and my mom was like, do you want one now?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And you know where we got our first guitars? Sears Roebuck catalog.
Oh, wow. A lot of people got their first guns
Yeah,
out of the Sears Roebuck
You
catalog.
flipping through, finding the bra section. Yeah, man,
Right.
that's good stuff. And then that was really it.
Yeah.
You know, just grew up pothead.
Yeah.
You know, I was definitely high school was interesting.
And what's your mom's name?
Darlene.
Darlene. Michou.
Or Michelle.
Michelle. Okay.
Not Michelle. Me show.
Michou.
Like
I just say
like
Mish.
television show. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Mish was a good
Yeah.
good nickname in high school.
Yeah.
And then I had sort of this interesting little career in radio. And then in 2005, I decided it was time to roll on out. And that's when I moved to Nashville with my buddy Paul Newton. And that's a whole other story there.
Right.
You know, but we'll have you back on the show and we'll talk about these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we getting ready to wrap?
A few minutes.
Well, I want to mention my family because they are.
How rude of me. Yes.
Well,
Let's talk about your family.
Yeah, I should have probably mentioned them at the beginning. Now I've got to I'll have to make Susan watch this all the way to the end now.
Yeah.
But my wife, Susan, is incredible. We've been married almost 29 years. There's no way I could play music without her support. I would not be doing that.
Mhm.
She is the rock that keeps everything together. I've got 2 kids. I've got Daniel, my son Daniel, and my daughter Sarah. Super proud of those guys.
I finally met Sarah too.
Yeah, she lives in North Carolina now, so it's hard to.
Yeah, we were in Virginia, right?
That's right. We did a show in Virginia, and she drove up to see us.
Yep.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool to have my daughter see me play at a bigger venue like that.
Mm-hmm. And then I know Daniel at this point.
Yep.
We the 3 of us went to a movie, so that sealed the deal as a buddy. you
Yeah,
know?
Daniel and I are big movie goers. We love movies.
And I love your wife. You know how much I
Yeah,
love and respect your wife.
Yeah.
Susan's a saint. She puts up with your shit.
and yours.
Yeah, but she
and-
doesn't live with me.
No. But she puts up with all the band stuff and,
Yeah.
and all the she listens to me complain when I get back off the road if something didn't go quite right. You know, I'm sure she gets tired of that. But yeah, without her, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, we all love Susan.
Yeah,
I should mention my daughter, Skylar.
Yeah.
Misho.
Misho.
Yeah, she's 14, started high school. She's in choir. She loves it.
Cool.
I'm glad she has something.
Cool.
You know, we tried band.
Yeah.
Clarinet is usually the go-to.
Right.
Didn't feel that.
Yeah.
Not really into sports.
Right.
Always loved singing, so we tried choir. Man, she's a choir girl.
Yeah.
She's a choir person.
Well, good.
You know, like band geek.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time.
Right.
Well, choir has their own little personality
Oh, yeah.
and their own clique and everything, and
For
she
sure.
just fits in, and it's very nice. And we actually every year Ole Miss hosts a choir festival for DeSoto County.
Right.
So all the schools go down and compete, and it's just awesome. You know, at the Ford Center, anyone that's familiar with Ole Miss is a massive Division I school, right? And it's like iconic in Mississippi, especially. They have an amazing theater in there,
Yeah.
so that's cool. They get to perform in that, and then this time the Ole Miss choir came out to close the show, leading into the award ceremony.
Right.
Just like, hey, this is what we get, you know. And they broke out, and it was the full choir, probably 200 people, bass, piano, drums, and they broke into a 10-minute like gospel-esque jam, upbeat. It was so powerful. Like,
Cool.
Just the volume, the power from their voices coming. Anyway, so my daughter's really into that, and of course, I nudge my mom.
Right.
While that's happening, I'm like, watch, Skylar's going to say, Dad, I want to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Sure enough, she's like, yeah, I want to go to Ole Miss. I'm like, okay, we need to really think about that one.
Yeah. Now, has Skylar been to her first concert?
She, Billie Eilish.
Okay.
She's seen Billie Eilish. And earlier on, when I was trying to make reference to a musician that she introduced me to, the whispery singer, I said, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Billie Eilish.
Okay.
And Billie Eilish is an example of, it's easy to think, oh, she's just another pop kid and blah, 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 blah. No.
Sure.
Listen to her music.
Yep.
It is amazing what her voice can do. And her brother does all the music.
Yep. I knew that.
Amazing stuff. So she got to see Billie Eilish.
Well, that's cool.
That's her first real concert, yeah.
Now, what was your first concert?
Man.
Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Really?
I've never been much of a concert goer either. The last concert I paid to go see or went to was Metallica. When that was like 3-4 years ago.
It's been a while. Yep.
Not a crowd person, so that's why like I've never liked it. But when I was in college, I saw Primus a few times.
Oh, that's great.
I got to see
I love
Sammy Hagar.
Okay.
With Michael Anthony.
Very cool.
At the Starwood Amphitheater that no longer exists in Nashville.
Yeah.
In the Antioch area of Nashville. Anyone that lives out there knows what I'm talking about. Man, I can't remember what my first concert would have been.
Well, my first concert, and this is always so funny to tell, and I used to be embarrassed about it, but I've grown away from that because my mother took me to this concert, and it's a memory that I have of her, and so I love that. But it was Shaun Cassidy, if you can believe that.
Nice.
You may not even know who that is.
Well, I mean,
if you're old enough to know
the Partridge Family, right?
That was David Cassidy.
But, okay, so part of that.
Yeah.
Was Shaun younger brother? What was their relationship?
I believe Shaun is the older one, but Shaun was one of the Hardy Boys in the Hardy Boys TV show.
Oh, I don't remember that show.
But anyway, so my mom took me to see that, and I don't know how old I was. I think I was less than 10. And not too long ago, there was an article in the Commercial Appeal about that concert. And my mother cut that article out and mailed it to me.
Oh, wow.
It's on my refrigerator right now.
Why that specific concert?
It was at the Mid-South Coliseum, which is no longer functional. It's just an abandoned building now. And I don't know, I didn't even read the article. I don't know what the article was about. There was just a picture of Shaun Cassidy, and it said, this date in whatever year, 77 or whatever, Shaun Cassidy wows the crowd in Memphis, and I was there. So it's pretty cool.
It would have been funny if they had a crowd shot. And
right.
There's little Jeff Ward down there.
Yeah, well, probably wouldn't be able to tell. So, but yeah, that was my first concert, and I have been to see everything from Metallica to all the 80s hair bands to country.
I think Styx was probably your last show, right? I remember you seeing Styx last
I did.
year.
I wanted you to go, and you couldn't make it for some reason.
Which was a bummer.
Great show, and we'll make one of those. We got to.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I still owe you for the Metallica concert.
That's right.
Which I never would have seen. I love Metallica, but I don't think I would have ever bought a ticket to go see them live. And when you called me and offered to take me, I was over the moon.
It was something that I absolutely had to do and spared no expense because they've been my favorite band forever. And the latest album they came out with was great.
Yeah.
And I keep up with them on YouTube, so I know what their concert settings are looking like, and just like they have an arena set up and then a stadium set up, and then so they went on this huge tour, first really big tour in a long time. They always play, but they went on a legit tour cycle of an album, toured the world and everything. So they had this U.S. leg that was going through Nashville. I was like, dude, like if you don't go to that show, you're 3 hours away.
You'll regret it.
I'm like, I'm going to regret it. And my favorite band, I've never seen them. Go.
It was worth it.
And I went on StubHub, and I think those seats were pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, they were great seats.
And I had to break out the credit card for 2 tickets, but I didn't give a shit. I didn't care because I had to go, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, that's one band that I never saw was Rush, and I will regret it until the day I die.
Yep.
Had many opportunities and just never pulled the trigger and went.
Yep.
And now I'll never get to see them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you got to go when you have the chance. You only live once. Do it.
Yeah. I wasn't born for the Beatles, so I kind of...
Right.
I can't do anything about that.
Right.
Foo Fighters, that would be my regret now. I would have loved to have been able to see Taylor Hawkins,
Yeah, and I'm sure, I feel like they're going to continue.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they'll continue, and we'll try to go. You and I need to go see them with whatever drummer they decide to use.
Yeah,
it won't be Taylor, but it'll be somebody
big
great.
Shoes to fill, but
yeah.
Look, Jeff. Oh, wrong song. There we go.
You sure we're not cutting any of this?
Oh, no. Anyone that watches my channel knows that we keep all the blemishes. We don't care.
Sure.
But we could talk forever, and we need to do this more.
Yeah, we do.
this was the first to test the room, to just test the cameras, just to record something here. Right. You were the first one I wanted to talk to, and
I feel so special.
Yeah, man. But I think it would be fun to do more together.
Sure, I agree.
I don't want to say we'll do our own show, but I think it'd be fun. You and I can talk forever and ever.
You want to learn poker?
No, I don't. But awesome, man.
Yep.
We'll do this again. I appreciate your time to do this and your friendship.
I loved doing it. Thanks for having me.
You got it, buddy.
All right, brother.